What's up, guys? This is Storm, and welcome to another Storm Gaming News Week. I hope you're having a really good weekend, trying to stay cool from the hot weather. But in today's episode, we have, for the first time ever, one bit of news is most likely going to be the whole entirety of this video. I do have some small news, but overall there's gonna be one big topic. I'm gonna go over all the information that came out from that topic. So without further ado, let's get on with the news. It's being reported Nintendo Europe in mid-February 2027. Nintendo will no longer sell to retailers the Nintendo Switch 1 consoles. This includes the Switch Original, Lite, and OLED. Sales of Nintendo Switch hardware on Nintendo Store will also end in mid-February 2027. So by February of next year, you can no longer get the Nintendo Switch 1 in the UK. They're going fully with the Switch 2 being sold in the UK only. We don't know if other regions will follow suit, like in the US and other areas and stuff. But yeah, kind of feel like this was bound to happen at some point because like you already got the Switch 2 and stuff, so don't really see why have the Switch 1 around, especially you're bringing games that was on the Switch 1 to the Switch 2 and stuff. But yeah, they're now ending production for the UK only. We just gotta wait and see if the other regions, this will happen to the other regions. PlayStation has announced that they will be at San Diego Comic Con 2026 this year, where the event they will be showing more updates for Marvel Wolverine, God of War La Fey, and Marvel Tolkien Fighting Soul. The one that stood out for me for God of War La Fey, because you would think Comic Con would be focusing on like comic book media when it comes to Marvel and DC or probably others and stuff. So God of War La Fey being here, I think this is the first time, well, for me personally, I ever heard a non superhero thing coming to Comic Con. So it definitely gonna be an interesting event when it starts up. The first one they gonna show is Marvel Wolverine. That would be on Thursday, July 23rd, and it's called Deep Cuts. In the PlayStation blog, it reads, "We're not just scratching the surface. We're cutting through it." Insomniac Games creative director Marcus Smith, game director Mike Daly, narrative director Williams, and senior project director Jess Rayner Reed are joined by actors Liam McIntyre, who plays Wolverine, and Kriza Bajos, I think, that's how you pronounce her last name. Forgive me if I said it wrong, but she plays as Jean Grey, along with executive producer Eric Monacel from Marvel Games to unveil exciting new details from the highly anticipated Marvel Wolverine, releasing on September 15 on PS5 consoles. Moderated by media personality Naomi Kyle, the panel will offer a behind-the-scenes look into games, story, characters, and exclusive never-before-seen content. So I believe this is where we'll get to see the story trailer for Marvel Wolverine, and we don't have to worry. This is not like one of those times when they be having a only the people who's at the event get to see. They Insomnia have confirmed they will be showing a video recording of the event that would take place sometime after the panel. So people who were unfortunately unable to go to Comic Con will be able to see what was shown there, which I'm extremely excited about. For Marvel Tokon Flying Souls, the Behind the Battle panel, it will be also on July 23rd on Thursday. It says step into the arena with Marvel Tokon Flying Souls, moderated by fighting game commentator and streamer Sajam, game producer Takeshi Yamanaka, from Art System Works, localization director Amber Zitz, from Arkham System Works, and senior product development manager Michael Francisco for Marvel Games take you inside the making of the game and creation of Marvel Token. Place in the Marvel Universe, the development team is joined by Mike Detoa, Ditato, Marvel comic artist and Knights of Doom illustrator, and voice actor Josh Keaton. Yeah, who's also voicing Iron Man and Spider-Man. That's right. He has one of the crazy voice line works. Like the fact he voice acts as Spider-Man and Iron Man. If you don't know who Josh Keaton is, he's mostly known for his voice acting work as Spider-Man in the Spectacular Spider-Man show, which was really amazing when it came out during those times. He did voice act Iron Man before Marvel Token. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, he has a pretty impressive track record when it comes to his voice lines and stuff. So when people saw he was voice acted as Spider-Man and Marvel Token, yeah, like it was pretty good. Oh, now I think about it, I think he actually does voice as Iron Man in Marvel Rivals. I believe so. Let me just do a quick check of that. Because the voices does sound similar. Now I'm like thinking about it in my head. Yeah, he does voice Iron Man in Marvel Rivals. So there we go. So he voiced Iron Man in Marvel Rivals and in Marvel Token, and he voiced that as Spider-Man in the Spectacular Spider-Man show and in the Marvel Token. So he doing two voices, which is really nice and stuff. A lot of people thought maybe Spider-Man would have been voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, who is currently the voice of Spider-Man in the Marvel Rivals. He also voiced Spider-Man in the Insomniac Spider-Man. So I kind of said people probably would have thought Yuri would be the voice of Spider-Man for Marvel. So come, but it's just most likely that Yuri's probably busy doing other projects at the time. So, but yeah, we're gonna get some exciting stuff from uh for Marvel Tokon because we now have like all the fighters, like the team that we have, all the team fighters have been announced. So this could probably go more in detail of the story. What would be a really big surprise for them to do is show off who will be the first uh like the first set DLC characters, because there was some people that were hoping for like Scarlet Witch or Doctor Strange or Moon Knight to be in the roster and stuff. So we'll see who else could be in the roster. But yeah, those were the ones I saw that was going around that people was hoping to see. But now for the last one, it will be held on July 24th, which is a Friday, and that is for the panel of God of War La Fey, and the panel is Forging God of War Next Heroes. And it says that God of War La Fey game director Ariel Lawrence and Santa Monica Studio head of creative Corey Barlaw lead an in-depth conversation with the cast, including Deborah Ann Wall, who play as La Fey, Christopher Judge, Kratos and Jack Quaid as uh, Ferenicu, and Paulina as Rue. Oh, Frank. And Paulina Alu as Rue for the first time since the game reveal. Panelists will share new details about the heroes of God War Lafay, including behind the scenes insights from the development and performance capture brings each character to life. So there's a possibility we could get a new look for God of War Lafay. Um, the marketing for this game is very interesting because we just got the reveal of it literally last month, and all the marketing, the promotion, and even this panel that's gonna be at San Diego Comic Con kind of make everybody believe this game is coming out a lot sooner than they think. And we have like reputable sources that pretty much confirm this and stuff. Even Santa Monica Studio themselves kind of pretty much hinted that this game is releasing in 2027 because they did confirm that God of War Lafay will have a physical copy, which Sony have said that there will be no more. They will be cutting physical media for future games in 2028 January. So the fact that the Santa Monica announced that God of War Lafay will have a physical copy, which pretty much confirmed that this game is coming out in 2027. Jason Schreier also said the exact same thing. Also, so it's all very nice that we're getting this game a lot sooner because I believe the last game that did stuff like this that they had like not like a first review for it and then like the next year it was released. And I think that was Horizon Zero Dawn because if I remember right, during E3 in 2016 they showed like a alpha gameplay build of the game, and literally in 2017 the game launched. So this pretty much doing the same thing for God of War Lafay and stuff because the fact that they had a whole over 20-minute long gameplay with no interruptions, that clean and already like showing what the game is and stuff, that pretty much confirmed this game is a lot farther in development than we originally thought and stuff. So I'm excited. That's gonna be a day one buy for me, and I can't wait to see. I'm kind of curious. Uh, will the panel actually reveal the release date for God of War Lafay? If they do, that'd be insane. Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2 is officially been released for the PS4 and PS5. They're both $40 each. There is a native PS4 version and a native PS5 version. And if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, they actually have them on a discount. The original price is $40, but with PlayStation Plus, you could get them for $20 each. And the season pass is $10 each. So overall, not really a bad sale and stuff. People immediately went to start downloading, really buying the game and stuff. That it crashed the PlayStation Store and the app and stuff. And I just saw people make jokes like the ones who were fighting for physical copy went out and bought a digital game, which is pretty ironic, but and neither here or there. The sale ends by the looks of it on August 6th, so if you want to get your hands on it at a $20 discount, here's your chance. And overall, it's not a really bad deal. Of course, some people expected the game to be a lot less uh, because there's no really much improvement over it. It's a simple port to the PS4 and PS5. It's not like it was built from the ground up for those console stuff. But what I saw articles said that it does run better than the Xbox version. It runs at 1080p 60, which is pretty nice. So it's not it's not like a crazy overall improvement compared to the base game and stuff. But people are excited because the servers don't have the hackers like the previous version had. But I did saw people were saying that people are boosting other people's levels. So yeah, Activision needs to handle that situation. Well, overall, pretty good. I think I might get it. I did enjoy the first two Black Ops games when they were just how they were before we got into the whole futuristic stuff. So yeah, this could be a purchase for me because I have been looking for a first-person shooter to break up my gaming routine because I've been playing a lot of action games and RPGs and stuff. So our shooter game could be the fresh breath I need and stuff since I've been playing Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2 could definitely add to the help of that. Alright, for this part of the section of the video, this is pretty much the end of the video because the rest of this video is just gonna be going over everything that happened when the Xbox layoff news dropped and stuff because that was the biggest thing that was talking. That was the biggest thing that was talked about for the week when the news came out, which was um, last Monday and stuff. So I'm gonna unfortunately, all the images of the reports I had, they got corrupted and stuff. So what I'm gonna do is, as the gameplay is playing in the background, I'm just gonna read off all the news outlets reported that happened, and pretty much I'm gonna do my best to post link in the descriptions of the different reports and stuff. Some are different, some are pretty much the same and stuff, but that's how I'm gonna try to do this. Unfortunately, so sorry for that. Next video, I'm definitely gonna get my stuff together and get these images together properly. So without further ado, here we go. The first one comes from Shinobi on X. He said, Xbox is laying off around 1,600 employees today, 8% with the additional layoffs continuing through the FY 2027, totaling 15% Xbox as it announces most significant reconstruction in its history and parts ways with several studios. So off rip, 1,600 people being laid off. More is coming, which will be adding 15%. And I believe the report said the grand total of the layoffs that will happen will be 3,200, which is the most that anybody ever seen when it comes to Xbox and stuff. So the good thing about this, no studio got shut down. They pretty much either got sold off or the studio was able to buy their independently, so they're now no longer under Xbox. These were the studios that got affected. We have Double Fine and Compulsion Games are going independent. Ninja Theory and Undead have been sold off. And Arcane is reviewing potential strategic options. So, yeah, Double Fine and Compulsion is going independent, and I believe they will also retain their IPs for their games, which is nice. We have Ninja Theory and Undead have been sold off to a different company. But the identity of the people who bought them is still unknown. They are probably going to get revealed at some point this month or go into next month and stuff. So we just have to wait and see on that one. Um, Arcane Studios, their situation is unknown right now. They're going through different strategic options of what's going to happen to them. So the possibilities what could happen to them, they could either go independent, get sold off, close down, or probably some other stuff, which will be very disappointing if Arcane Studio do get shut down because people are excited to play that Blade game that they're currently working on and stuff. So, uh, what's the next one that we have? And Xbox also explained why Arcane Studios is in this situation that they're in. It says, this comes from Charlie Intel. It says Arcane's Marvel Blade title has gone over budget and has been delayed internally, which has resulted in Arcane now undergoing evaluation to be sold off. Which is kind of crazy because, like, how did they go over budget with the Blade game and stuff? Especially when you look at, like, Insomniac and stuff, they've been putting out Spider-Man. They put out 3 different Spider-Man games, which is kind of crazy because you would think uh Insomnia will be going through this will be going through this situation because compared to Blade, Spider-Man is literally the biggest Marvel hero and stuff. And you expect Insomnia to go over budget and stuff because I can't remember how much the development cost for Marvel Spider-Man 2 was. I think the number was going around like I think it was like what over 300. And when that game when that game sold and stuff, it made back the money for the development. So it's like it's kind of crazy if that's the case because Blade is a good Marvel character. He just not that big in comparison to Spider-Man. So the fact that they're going over budget over it is pretty crazy in my opinion. And of course, this information comes from Tom Warren and so yeah, that's pretty crazy. I am kind of curious what is the budget for the Marvel Blade. So I can't wait to see how that get revealed at some point. This also comes from Charlie Ito, uh, but the source is from Bloomberg. It says that Bethesda will be overhauled as part of today's Xbox change to focus on key franchise going forward, which is Fallout, The Elder Scrolls, Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein, which means uh those are going to be the only franchise that they are going to be focused on and developing games for. So yeah, still kind of crazy. So they're no longer going to be trying to create new franchises and stuff because I believe they made Avowed. Yeah, they made Avowed, and I don't think that game did well. So unfortunate, but like, hey, if they need them to do something that we could get work done, these franchises that they have will most likely do the work. Um, this from Stefan Totalio, that's the source, and this report says that Xbox CEO is moving Minecraft and Candy Crush King business units to report directly to her instead of being part of the content business. The Xbox CEO reportedly believes that the company has failed to properly invest in Minecraft, which I I don't really know for sure about that because Minecraft is one of the biggest IPs in gaming and stuff. And granted, they have not really been putting out new updates for the game. I honestly can't remember the last big update Minecraft ever had and stuff. But it is kind of crazy and stuff. But the real thing that is very interesting, they want them to report directly to her. I'm kind of curious the reason for that and stuff because Candy Crush, honestly, as an app game, it does well on its own and stuff. And Minecraft, you still got kids playing Minecraft to this day. So I'm kind of curious what she's planning on doing with Candy Crush King, and Minecraft. But of course, we had to wait and see because she just started doing this, and I guess probably sometime next year we're gonna see her overall plan that she has going on. Alright, the next report comes from Bloomberg. It said this came from an interview, which I'm assuming, and it said the Xbox CEO Asha Sharma wants Xbox to reach 1 billion players per day. It currently reaches around 1 billion per year. And not gonna lie, this had people laughing when this news came out because, like, um, what are you smoking that you want to get 1 billion? You're trying to get 1 billion players per day. Like, it's literally something that never been done before, in my opinion. And the fact that she's trying to do this is like she has a goal in mind, but the thing is, it kind of sounds like something that's given the current state of Xbox. She trying to set a goal that would be hella difficult to reach at the current climate of Xbox. That's why some people are praising her like, oh, she's trying to change Xbox. But I think Xbox have been beaten down so much, it's gonna be difficult to even try to make a comeback. Like if she's able to do it, kudos to her. I definitely would give credit what credit is due and stuff. But that is definitely an uphill battle to fight and stuff. And I think the damage overall from the Xbox studio, from the Xbox company itself over the years, has done too much damage that it won't, like, the overall people won't care anymore for Xbox. Like they will still have their hardcore player base and stuff, but it just the overall damage will be too hard to fix. And I kind of agree with some people when they said they don't believe that she will be at the company long enough to fix the overall damage. Some people even saying that she will only be at Xbox for like 3 years, then move on to something else. So, gonna be kind of crazy to see what happens and stuff. But like I said, she just got into position. She been given to the keys to a badly damaged car. Now it's up to her to go to the mechanic and fix up the car. Alright. The next one we have is Xbox CEO says every part of the company will be affected by today's layoff. That is including Activision because I'm assuming the reason for this because the overall experience when it came to like Black Ops 7, which was the last Call of Duty game that came out, did very poorly and stuff, and had people upset of the overall gaming. So of course Xbox will have to rectify the loss that they made for Black Ops 7, especially when that game was on Game Pass. So they lost a pretty decent uh, player purchases because the game was on Game Pass on Xbox and Game Pass PC, I believe. So yeah, they pretty much a good number of players purchasing Black Ops 7. Okay, we are going to move on. Alright, this one comes from Stefan. This one is talking about Undead Labs. It said Undead Labs' new owner will not be required to release State of Decay 3 on Xbox Game Pass. The new ownership will be announced later this summer. Alright, so that was something I was kind of wondering about when it was said that Undead Labs got sold off and stuff. And I was wondering, alright, so since they're sold off, does that still mean they will have to release the game on Game Pass? But it turns out, with the new owners, they're not obligated to put it on Game Pass. Like they could if they want to, I believe, and Microsoft is willing to pay for the difference to put it on Game Pass. But they don't really have to. So if you're on the Xbox and you want to play State of Decay 3, if they don't put on Game Pass, you have to fork over that money. So this it is kind of crazy. But one thing I didn't see people talking about is, so if Xbox is losing first party studios that was supposed to help benefit Game Pass and stuff, because one of the biggest sell points for Game Pass is being able to play Xbox first party games day one in a subscription service that you don't have to pay $70 for. So I'm curious. So I'm kind of curious about like if Xbox lose their studios to help lift Game Pass by losing first party studios, do that mean do Game Pass still keep the value that it had? Because is Game Pass still a good value if it doesn't have the studios for their first party lineup anymore? Like, if somebody would have gotten Game Pass, be like, "Oh, sweet, I got Game Pass, and I'm excited to play State of Decay 3. I'll be able to play on Game Pass day one when it launched." But now, if the new owners of Undead Labs say like, "Hey, State of Decay 3 will not be on Game Pass when it launches and stuff," how would that person feel? Be like, well, I won't be able to play. I will have to buy the game now. So what's the point of me keeping Game Pass? So I'll just leave that question for you guys. Do you guys still see Game Pass having a value if Xbox first party studios that was originally there no longer will have their games day one on Game Pass? We just gotta find out and see. This comes from the Wall Street Journal. They reported saying Game Pass currently has around 30 million subscribers. Previously, Xbox had projected the number to reach 77 million this year, according to prior ABK legal proceedings. Now, this is the big disappointment I saw going around. because I believe it was like 2 years ago. It was reported that Xbox Game Pass was at 34 million. Then Asha Sharma did confirm that when the price of Game Pass went up, they lost millions of subscribers. I don't believe they gave an exact number how much millions they lost when Game Pass price went up, but the fact that they projected to reach 77 million by this year, and we have the number that Game Pass is only at 30 million, that is pretty much sad. That is really sad. And it's crazy that Game Pass have been around for so long, and it only reached that much. And so, especially when Xbox and when Xbox Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond was around, you could not you could not see an advertisement that didn't have Game Pass on it. When it comes to like Doritos chips and all that, even at the Game Awards and stuff, I believe at one of the Game Awards they show like two back-to-back Xbox Game Xbox Game Pass commercials, and with the whole thing like, oh, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, basically pushing the narrative that, hey, people, you don't really need an Xbox to play Xbox games. I'm kind of curious, will Asha Sharma dial, like they did got rid of the tagline of this is an Xbox and stuff, but the thing that got me curious, will they dial back on how many platforms you'll be able to use Xbox Game Pass on? Kind of curious about that. Let me know what you think in the comment below. We have like a couple of posts from the different studios. This one comes from Compulsion Games. It says, when Compulsion Games was founded in 2009 as an independent studio, we were just a few dreamers in a leaky old gramophone factory devoted to creating rich storylines and experience that felt handcrafted. We care about the craft of making games, the stories we tell, the players who experience them, and assemble creators who put their heart and soul into doing something different. Today, we're sharing the Compulsion Games. We return to independent management following our time as part of Xbox. As part of this transition, we will retain the rights to Contrast, We Happy Few, and our award-winning South of Midnight. We're grateful for the years we spent with Xbox, for the support they provide our team, and for the opportunity to bring these games to players around the world. As an independent studio, we're excited to continue building the distinctive games that define Compulsion while taking the next steps in our journey. Our immediate priority is to support our team throughout this transition period. We are confident in the future of Compulsion Games and look forward to seeing this next chapter where one thing will remain constant. We will create unique games that tell important stories, all with the goal of touching the hearts and minds of our players. So that was from Compulsion Games, and I'm hoping they do well in the future and stuff, because there's reasons for you letting a big company like Microsoft to purchase you, and most of that could be for financial stability. So I'm kind of curious what will happen to Compulsion Game now that they don't have that cushion from Microsoft and stuff. I do hope their players will come and back them going forward. But like I said before, we gotta wait and see what happens, since they're still in the process of this transition and stuff. So I I am kind of curious what could happen to the developers. For what I could tell, I haven't seen a report that anybody from Compulsion Game got laid off. So overall, it sounds like they are in a good spot, but time will tell what will happen in the future. On the next report, this one comes from Double Fine. They said once again, Double Fine production will be an independent studio. We're thankful to everyone at Xbox for 7 great years together and for working with us to reach an outcome which preserves our history and culture and returns ownership of our games to us. To everyone who has reached out to us these past few weeks, thank you so much for all your kind words. We've been deeply touched by all your messages. We will share more news soon on what comes next. Your continued support and greatly appreciated. Tim and all at Double Fine. So kudos to them. They were able to keep their rights to their games, which is nice to hear. And once again, I am hopeful for the future of Double Fine of where their next project will take them. Alright, this next news is an update from IO Interactive. Last week I reported that IO Interactive have stopped team development with Microsoft for their game called Project Fantasy and stuff. And we got an update on that situation. It said IO has regained full ownership of Project Fantasy and will continue to develop and fund it independently amongst other projects, but they will shut down its Istanbul studio and law people as consequence. So they are still going to develop Project Fantasy and basically develop and fund it by themselves without Microsoft help without Microsoft help. But unfortunately, due to this, they had to shut down their Istanbul studio, and people got laid off, which really sucks. It's unfortunate. Um, we have another report that comes from IGN. This one is about the staff of Obsidian. It says staff at Obsidian Entertainment have reportedly concerned about the studio's future project after it was hit hard by Microsoft Xbox layoff. So we don't have the exact number from Obsidian themselves how many people they lost, but the fact that they're concerned about losing the people that they have kind of really goes into details like, yeah, they lost a hefty ton of people and it's unfortunate that it happened. Kind of curious where they go from here, what next project they have working on. So we just have to wait and see on that, but it really sucks. In my opinion, I think out of all the studios that were hit, I think this one got hit the worst, and this comes from ID Software, id Software. These are the developers of the Doom game, and it said around 50% of id Software has been laid off part of Xbox. That is crazy. 50% of them got laid off. And it's a damn shame too that this is happening to them. Like, because it said that there 136 workers have been laid off at id Software, 22 layoffs at Bethesda Games 2 office in Austin. So id Software lost 136 people. That is crazy work. Crazy absolute work. Because like why and stuff. People love Doom. But the fact you lay off 136 of them is crazy work. We got a couple more to go through, so let's get on with it. This comes from Bloomberg. It says Xbox Obsidian Entertainment Studio has canceled work on the next Avowed game as part of the restructuring, and now starting to work on a new Fallout game. So this just goes to show Avowed did not do good work. It didn't sell well and stuff. So pretty much, it part two is not gonna happen. So now they're going to be focusing on making the next Fallout game. I believe they even got back the original guy who did Fallout New Vegas to do it. So fans are excited for that. But yeah, disappointing that Avowed sequel got canceled and stuff. I never played it and stuff because it's not my type of game. But I know for those type of players, they had a pretty good fan base for them. GamesBeat has revealed what was its software was pitching before they got layoff. It said its software was pitching and toying with various projects, including a new Project Dark, a John Wick style original game codenamed Fury, and a co-op Doom before Xbox cut the studio. One former dev said the studio has been nuked into the dirt and regulated to support studio side. Collectively, decades of knowledge was wiped out of the studio. Like, damn. To be honest, some of those games that they were pitching would definitely would have sell because uh people are still upset about Perfect Dark being canceled and stuff. And id Software probably could have made a pretty good Perfect Dark. What else we have? A John Wick style Fury. That would have been good, especially I don't believe we have games that play like that currently right now and stuff. Especially we still don't know the release date for that John Wick game that's being made. So the fact that this could have been a whole new genre for gamers could have been amazing, but unfortunately we lost it thanks to Xbox kind of half of its software. Um, the next one comes from the developers for the Elder Scrolls 6. It's being reported by IGN saying the Elder Scrolls 6 will suffer because of Xbox layoff. Bethesda staff say they expect delays, crunch, losing generational talent, and staff being replaced by contractors. This has had a crushing effect on morale, which honestly that could be true. And so, due to them laying off some of their people, they will have no choice but to try get the game out faster. They will have to crunch, get contractors who could pick up to speed on how to develop the game. And the game had been in the work for years and stuff, so people wouldn't be surprised if there was like another delay. It's unfortunate, but yeah. And lastly, Fallout 76 update could stop without external studio. Yeah, yeah, that could happen because since the people are going to focus on Elder Scrolls 6, updates for Fallout 76 will definitely be halted. So with that being said, that's all the news we got from the Xbox layoffs. How do you feel? Do you expect Xbox to turn this around in the future, or you think this marks the end for them? Let me know what you think in the comments below. This is Storm. Hope you have an amazing weekend. I'll catch you guys in the next video. And peace out.